afternoon, everyone, and welcome to this afternoon's local launch of Innovating Communities in County Cavan. To introduce myself, I am Colette McEntee, Network Admin Coordinator of Innovating Communities, which is a leader cooperation project involving Cavan and neighbouring counties Sligo, Monaghan, Leitrim, Louth and Donegal. And so this is where I slot in, liaising between all the 6 counties to ensure the successful delivery of the project throughout the region. Today's event comes in 2 parts, with contributions from our speakers firstly, and then a breakout discussion to give you a taster of what Innovating Communities is all about and offers to you. I would like to welcome and extend special thanks to our speakers today for their insight and contribution. Chair of the LAG, Brendan Jennings, Chief Financial Officer of Monaghan Holdings, Dara O'Reilly, and Cathaoirleach of County Cavan, Sarah O'Reilly, who will officially launch the programme here in the county. We will also have contributions from Des Burney of Ice Cream Architecture, who are the lead training team of the project. I would also like to take this opportunity to thank Monaghan Integrated Development for their foresight in identifying the need for having innovating communities and for taking on the role as lead partner as we implement this project across the border region. And to thank the Cavan Local Action Group for approving the leader funding and backing the project, and to Monaghan Holdings for coming on board as financial partner and investing in community development across the county. And thank you to Cavan County Council for their continued support and partnership approach for all the work of Cavan County Local Development, and also to the board of Cavan County Local Development for their continued guidance and commitment to the company's vision. And thanks to the community groups who across the county have volunteered and continue to shape Cavan's local economy, environment and social inclusion for the betterment of the Cavan people. And then leaving the best to last, I would like to thank you, the attendees, for joining us today for the county launch and the breakout session later on. Innovating Communities welcomes and needs community organisations, individuals and businesses just like yourselves to contribute and participate and shape this project, and to participate in the free facilitated training sessions that will enable you to work through an idea or a challenge that you identify in your locality. This project aims to strengthen community-led development across all the 6 counties using design thinking, which Des will explain further. So please, throughout, keep your thinking caps on, and also bear in mind that you should visit the website www.innovating.ie and use the programme to your community's advantage. And I really hope that you enjoy this afternoon. I would also like to remind you that the event is recorded, and would you please keep yourselves on mute. And I also would invite you to drop in any questions or notes of discussion in the there's a chat box there, just up in the top right corner, and it's just over, it's a square speech box with a few lines in the middle, and you can just enter any queries you might have about the project itself. And then I will be handing you guys over to Brendan Jennings, who will take the virtual floor, and chairperson of the Cavan Local Action Group, who funded this leader project. Sorry, there's an echo there. If everyone just keeps themselves on mute. Thank you now.
Thank you very much, Colette. You're all very welcome to this virtual launch today. It's great to see so many in this virtual room and what's turned out to be a lovely day. The LEADER programme, as you know, is an EU programme that aims to develop the rural economy through promoting social inclusion, addressing poverty and supporting economic development. LEADER was designed to aid the development of sustainable rural communities following the reforms of the Common Agricultural Policy. The LEADER programme for County Cavan has had an allocation of just over 8.5 million. Further to this, Cavan in 2019 was awarded an additional $500,000 or 500,000 as one of 10 areas that was most advanced in the delivery of the LEADER programme. As you can see, it's a significant programme in terms of funding that's available, and it's fair to say that the impact of this LEADER programme has been felt in all our communities. Over the last 4.5 years, Cavan has committed almost 6.8 million to community, environmental and enterprise projects right across the county. Cavan Local Community and Development Committee delivered the leader element of the Rural Development Programme. And this acts as the local action group in working with the partnership of Cavan County Council as financial partner and Cavan County Local Development Company as the implementing partner. This partnership approach has been extremely successful in Cavan over the lifetime of the leader programme. It's great to see that this ethos of collaboration is also working across the region to benefit local communities. In this regard, Cavan Local Action Group, along with 5 other similar groups in Donegal, Sligo, Leitrim, Monaghan and Louth, will be providing almost €1 million in funding for this Innovative Communities initiative across the border region under the leader cooperation measure. This initiative will give communities the capacity and the tools to think big, to implement ambitious projects, and to transform our local economy, our environment, and promote social inclusion. Our partner, Cavan County Local Development Company, with the support of Cavan County Council, will implement this project locally on behalf of the Cavan Local Action Group. I want to commend Cavan County Local Development Company for their initiative and forward thinking in progressing this project. On behalf of Cavan County Council, I can confidently say that we're delighted to support this initiative and look forward to seeing the fruits of this project and the benefits for communities right across the region. I'd also like to take this opportunity to thank Manic Holdings for coming on board as a financial partner. I know from working with Darragh O'Reilly and his colleagues in the past on a number of other initiatives that Manic take great pride in being part of the community and have shown great leadership in driving forward projects that bring benefits locally. I'd also like to wish Ice Cream Architecture the best of luck delivering the training, and I want to encourage as many community groups as possible to take this opportunity to participate in this training. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Brendan. Now, if everyone remains on mute, and I'm going to hand you over to Des of Ice Cream Architecture, who are the leading training body of Innovating Communities and have over 10 years experience in delivering citizen-led community development projects and design-led training. So if you just unmute yourself, Des, and take to the floor. Thank you.
Gurb Margaret Colette. Dies mar Yves Galer is foilte roiv gudi Innovating Communities I gunte an Cavan. Is misha jasun o björna on antagriacht Ice Cream Architecture. Is more on an or doing of a bantok lesh on chunskadolsha. Ogsanish. We are delighted to be leading the training and engagement of the Innovating Communities project across County Cavan and across the whole region of the borders. We're delighted that we're already working with some of the local co-trainers who are dedicating their time over the next 2 years to support their local communities. And it's at the start of a really exciting journey for Innovating Communities. As working with the co-trainers and the team in Ice Cream Architecture, we will be supporting communities to work through important challenges that they face and that they want to work towards solutions to improve community life. So in front of you now is a list of the co-trainers here in Cavan who will be there to support participants in the training. And we're really ready to get going with some of the training. And you'll see, and I can describe some of the challenges that are already up on the website. So this exciting journey is only starting now, but already we have the site live and we have challenges up there. So you can go along if you haven't already done so to register at innovating.ie. And there you'll be able to tell us the challenges that you see your local community facing. And in terms of your local community, that could be geographically your local villages or towns. It could also be the community that you work within in terms of a thematic group, maybe like a group of artists, a group of businesses, or possibly a group of tourism providers. And after you have registered a challenge, or the challenge that you would like to tackle on the website, we will bring together those challenges that have been put forward, and we'll start to work out exactly which challenges will form the training cohorts. So this could be a set of organizations that have a pre-prepared challenge that they really want to work through, or it could be something that you put forward a challenge and it might be matched with other people or other groups that have similar challenges in similar thematic areas. So in front of you just now is a light bulb infographic of the journey that we're about to go on. And you'll see the register and you tell us stages. We've had a regional launch already, and this is obviously the Cavan launch to get the project kick-started. We have the co-trainers in place for County Cavan, and now it's about accepting the challenges. So those challenges that are being put forward being accepted as the challenges that we want to tackle. Once the cohorts are in place, there are two types of training that we will bring the participants through. These are the design sprints, which are short, rapid, quick-fire processes that we'll work through for challenges that feel like they have a solution that we could get to quite quickly. And the second of these is the full-scale training sessions, which would be about 10 sessions in total. And these are for the harder, bigger problems that might take a bit more work and a bit longer term to work through those challenges. So to say, again, the design sprints are about 6 or 7 sessions with groups and individuals, and the full-scale sessions would be about 10 sessions to work through the full process of design thinking. And design thinking, I want to just give you a very quick overview of that. I'm sure many of you maybe have already heard of it or are already using design thinking in the things that you're doing. But to give you a very short introduction to it today, first of all, design thinking is really about an attitude, and it's about a group of people coming together to focus on a challenge with a really positive and go-getting attitude. And there's a set of tools behind that attitude that will support the process and those participants to work through the journey. And the most important thing is that we work through this journey with the positive attitude, but also constantly thinking about the human-centered approach. And by human-centered approach, I'm talking about the people who are affected by the challenge, so the communities that would be affected or would benefit from a solution. So at every stage in the process, we're constantly looking back and asking and understanding the needs of the community in terms of working out what the best solution for the challenge is. To give you a sense of where design thinking has come from, and the term originated in the 1950s and 60s, and this was in the post-war era, where people looked back on the war and they saw that there was a huge amount of rapid design and manufacturing and innovation that stemmed from the war, from the, I guess, the drastic state that people were in, and they had to adapt to life, but there was also rapid development in terms of design and manufacturing. And people coined the term design thinking about the process that they saw the inventors and the designers had gone through, because they saw the challenge that they needed to fulfill on one side, but they also saw the rapid decision-making process they went through to come up with a solution on the other end. And two examples in front of you just now of things, everyday things now that we take for granted, things like freeze-dried coffee in the Nescafe tin, which could be taken here to the top of the world in Mount Everest. These things weren't available before, but through the processes and through the limitations of the war, people developed freeze-dried coffee so that it could be transported across the world instead of being kind of bulked up in the ports in Brazil, which were limited in terms of exporting. And the freeze-dried coffee then served as a perfect solution for rations for troops on the ground, but it also meant that it spread really widely after the war and became very much an everyday item. In the same way that biro, mightier than the sword, the biro itself was developed at the start of the war and became increasingly popular because the fountain pen pots were constantly exploding at high altitude for the pilots. So the biro was something that was rolled out really quickly during the war. So these are just two examples, but things like penicillin, super glue, and lots of different things were invented and designed during the war. And then afterwards, people saw these processes and coined the phrase design thinking. But they also saw that it wasn't just about the processes for smaller inventions. It was very much about bigger issues that were tackled during the war. And they saw these happening in terms of challenges that were much bigger issues, some challenges that could be quite intangible, things that they saw were, it was difficult to know where to start to tackle that solution or to tackle that problem. And they coined the term the wicked problem for these issues. And a modern day wicked problem would be something like climate change, which is something that everyone is affected by, but it's something that we all need to make some effort to work on. But it's a very tricky thing. There's lots of stakeholders with kind of conflicting agendas that need to be considered. And there's lots of different players in terms of that problem. So I mentioned earlier the design sprint and the full scale differences. So the design sprint is really quick. The full scale was a much broader challenge. And this is where the wicked problems would come in. If there's a big issue, a big challenge that will take in quite a lot of different stakeholders, that would be a wicked problem that we'd like to deal with through the full scale challenge training. So to talk really quickly through the stages of design thinking, initially we want everyone who's taking part in a cohort to accept the challenge that's ahead of them. And this is a process of agreement and decision making to ensure it is the right challenge. There's no point in tackling the wrong challenge. And we need to understand fully what that challenge is. So initially, it's about everyone agreeing and accepting the challenge. And then we'd move on to look at the researching all the different aspects of the community and the people who are affected by that challenge in the empathize phase. And this will be a huge amount of research and a huge amount of asking questions and understanding the issues and thinking about the opportunities as well for that community. We then move on to the define phase, which is about setting down the challenge and the nuts and bolts of what needs to be solved. And that's almost creating a brief for the group to then work forward on before coming to the ideate phase. And the ideate phase is about everyone putting down ideas. This stage is a really fun bit because there's no wrong idea, and you can put down any amount of ideas. They can be really blue sky, they can be ambitious, you can have lots of fun at this stage coming up with ideas. And once you have a whole bank of ideas, you start to look at the ones that feel like they have the most traction, or the ones that most community members and people affected by the challenge can relate to and understand how a solution might come from it. So at that point, you're testing some of these challenges to make sure that they work. And from there, we're looking at materializing the 1 or 2 or 3 solutions that we think could work. But this phase is a bit of a linear process, but it's also something that we can lean on. So if we get to the testing phase and we realize actually the solution that we're working on isn't exactly the right one that we want, we can go back to the ideate phase and then start again to test another solution or a hybrid of 2 or 3 solutions. So it's something that you can jump back and forward along, but it does give you the value of a process to lean on throughout working up the solution. So though we're doing this over the screen, and it's genuinely not at all how we would want to be delivering this project, but there are lots of tools within the design process, the design thinking process, that will support us to do these things over the screen until the day that we can get back into the same room and work on these challenges face to face. So these are some of the things that we have that we can work with participants to support the process. To give you a sense of where design thinking is used, it's most commonly used in the corporate and commercial world, and to great effect as well. So some of the big names that you'll recognize, things like Apple and Google and Amazon, all these brands are using design thinking in all their processes. And just to give you an example of a kind of a tale of 2 different approaches here. On one side, Extra Vision, a brand from a few years back, was a store-focused DVD and video rental. And then on the other side, Netflix started out roughly the same time, but they were subscriber services that you posted out DVDs to their subscribers. And over the years, Netflix has really used this design thinking approach and the human-centered focus to constantly innovate what they do and what they offer. And through that, they've moved from a DVD subscription service to a streaming service. And now they have algorithms in place that they're constantly looking at what we're watching and then they're now producing the TV programs and movies to exactly what we want. So it's constantly looking back and using it, the info they're getting, and giving us as the consumer what they want. On the other hand, Extravision didn't really innovate their process, and unfortunately we don't have Extravision on the main streets anymore. But this is just one tale of how the commercial and corporate world uses design thinking. By no means is design thinking solely for corporate world, and if anything, it gives us the chance to do the same things that the corporate world is doing, but for community life, and to make sure that it's working as good as it possibly can be. So today I want to give you an example of a project that we've worked on in Huntly in Scotland. And this is a rural market town that over the years has declined in importance as other bigger towns and cities across the region have become more accessible. And like many towns across the border region, the decline has been seen in terms of vacancy rates in the town centre, and much less activity happening on the streets. So when we initially started the design thinking process with Huntly, we were told that we needed to bring retailers back to the town centre. And in working with a local group called the Town Team, who are a kind of an organisation of lots of organisations in the town that are actively working, looking at the data, so empathising and understanding the data, things like the vacancy rates in the town centre, we realised that actually it wasn't so much about just getting retailers back, it was about the community feeling like they had the access to the town centre, that they could make the changes, because it was massively owned, the town centre was massively owned by external property portfolios. So through asking lots of questions with the community and working through processes, we came up with a roadmap for the community to take hold of their town centre. And this was effectively the roadmap to support them. And the town centre effectively was that wicked problem. But within the wicked problem, there were also lots of other smaller challenges that they needed to overcome, things like transport in and out from the outlying villages, and how could they encourage community members to get involved in activities and events. So lots of different smaller challenges within the bigger wicked problem. And this roadmap that we set for them allowed them to secure funding. So they've secured funding for 2 of the major buildings in the town centre. And they now have a programme of activities to support lots of different events that are happening in the town centre. And it gives them the strength to work together on challenges and opportunities, and to overcome what had become of the town centre. But this is just one example of one of the projects we've worked on. Another example of design thinking is a project in Marion Square, which at the heart of Dublin, a much more urban context, but it's a square of huge importance. And back after the recession, it was a time where the tourism industry was really struggling. And some of the kind of key stakeholders who have property around around Marion Square, like the National Gallery and the National Library, Fáilte Ireland, and other stakeholders came together with the aim of working up an opportunity for Marion Square. And from this, they worked through a design thinking process, saw the opportunities that were at hand, and came up with a plan which included a management company to run events in the square and to be able to promote some of the benefits of what could happen at Marion Square. So from this process, they could work through the different challenges they saw, and it gave them a combined approach, effectively, that they could promote and work up new projects. So again, another example of design thinking in action for different communities and spaces where there are lots of stakeholders and different groups involved. But more importantly, how do people across Cavan get involved in innovating communities? The first port of call after today is to go on the website innovating.ie, and if you register there, there's a simple sign-up process, and that will keep you immediately in touch with the project. So we'll be able to send you information of anything happening, update you when there are training cohorts available that you can register your interest in. And immediately you can start to use the challenge bank, which is the space where we're asking people to put forward their challenges. And you'll see there's a breakdown of the different thematic areas where we see challenges fitting within. It doesn't have to fit exactly within these, it could be part of numerous of these themes. But here's where you can start to add the challenges for Cavan. And already there's lots of people from Cavan who have been putting forward challenges. So please do read the challenges that are up there and comment on them as much as possible. We'd hope that people will start to focus around similar challenges, and we can build the cohort of training groups through that conversation of the challenges. But just before I pass back to Colette, I just like to, I guess, reiterate the point of that in terms of where design thinking came from at that point of the war, where there was a real challenge, and we're in a similar state across the globe at the moment and in community life with coronavirus, how things have been stunted. But through these challenges, this makes us ripe for innovation, and this is where innovating communities can fit in. And we're constantly adapting at the moment, but through bringing the community groups together and looking at the challenges ahead of us, we can come up with really innovative solutions to make sure community life is as effective and as good as possible for everyone across Cavan. And so I'll hand you back to Colette now, and I can chat further in the Q&A section.
Thank you very much, Des, for that overview of the project, and I hope you and the audience have a better understanding. And also just a reminder, you can pop any questions you might have or points of discussion into the chat box, which is just up on the top right in the little speech bubble. And now I'm going to hand over to Dara O'Reilly, the Chief Financial Officer of Monaghan Holdings, and I'd like to introduce Dara. Monaghan Holding is a company renowned for their innovation and creative approach to production and practices in and beyond County Cavan. And as I mentioned, previous Monaghan have financially contributed to this project towards 2 leader learning labs that will act as spaces for facilitating training and meetings when COVID allows. Dara, if you could unmute yourself, please, and if everyone remains muted. Thank you.
Thank you, Colette. It's great to be involved in this initiative today. We're absolutely delighted to be involved. I suppose it's probably 18 months ago since Terry Hyland and myself had a conversation, and the idea of the Innovating Communities was mooted. And there was something, I suppose, that we saw as fitting very much into the ethos that we have here as a business. Maybe just before we go into some of that, just explain a little bit about ourselves. Monaghan Holdings is involved in 2 different businesses here. We have building products that we manufacture, and we're also involved in plastic packaging as well. We have 15 business units predominantly located around the Cavan-Fermanagh border, and we employ 830 odd people between all of those operations. Our turnover on an annual basis is just over 200 million euros. And our markets, I suppose, are predominantly the Irish market and the GB market. And just to give you an idea of the scale and respect of the GB market, on a daily basis, we would ship in the region of 80 truckloads a day of product across the Irish Sea, in addition to shipping a full boatload of cement product on a weekly basis. So cement and insulation products are, I suppose, our 2 main building products, and then we also manufacture a full range of concrete products, precast concrete roof tiles, quarry aggregates, blocks, ready mix, things that you'd be familiar with, as well as manufacturing a range of plastic packaging products predominantly used in the food sector, so the likes of meat trays, mushroom hullets, and dairy spread containers. So invariably, probably if you've gone to your supermarket, you've seen some of our products sitting on the shelves. I suppose, just in respect of the Innovating Communities initiative, it's a fantastic program. And from our perspective, what does innovation mean to us as a business? And probably most people, when they think of a manufacturing business, they think of innovation as being limited to new product development and what have you. But I suppose in our sphere, the majority of our competitors are large multinational organizations, many of them big quoted companies. And obviously we're operating from a base here along the Cavan-Fermanagh border. So innovation to us is far more just than new product development or whatever it might be. It's something that we instill in all of the different aspects of our business, right through from the order coming in from a customer to the actual sale of that in the first place, and then all the way through our processes until the product gets to the customer. So the product is really only a portion of the process and a portion of the innovation that we carry out. So we carry out innovation, as I say, in all of the different challenges that we meet as a commercial company. And that really is what innovation is about. It's about solving challenges efficiently. Another word, obviously, that springs to mind when you think about innovation in our context is it's about collaboration. And if we're innovating something within our organization, there's a lot of collaboration there between various different aspects of the business to make sure that we get as efficient a solution as possible to that. And all of that, I suppose, feeds from the three pillars that we base all of our decisions within the business on. And they are very, very simply people, place, and partners. And within that context, the partners piece is where the community comes in. So it's not just talking about our suppliers or talking about our customers. It's much, much wider than that. It takes into account the community as a whole. And I suppose for us, it's important that the community locally, the county of Cavan, and then the island of Ireland, etc., that flourishes. And we see this Innovating Communities initiative as something that's really focused on making sure that community flourishes in some of the areas of the country which are probably more deprived than some others, probably a little bit more challenged by geography than some of the other areas around the country. So by us being able to give whatever little help we can give to this initiative, we think that is a very strong message to give to the community, that the people who are out there have the capability. There's fantastic vision in this country. There's fantastic vision in this region. There's fantastic ability. And there's no doubt that if that's harnessed and brought together in the right channels, that we can achieve whatever we want, regardless of where we're located, regardless of who we are or anything else. And it'll give an opportunity for people to work together. And I think that's very important to us. Pre-COVID times, I know it's a little bit different now, but pre-COVID times, if we had a problem, we got people into a room and we thrashed it out, and then we obviously put a roadmap in place, much as like as what has been shown on this presentation beforehand. So there's nothing different in taking on challenges as a community and working through it. And as I say, it's that collaboration piece that's important. And then I suppose it all becomes self-fulfilling. It keeps life in the area. And then, we can move on from there and innovate even further. It's not something that stops, I'm afraid. It's something that has to keep being worked on. But just to finally, just to say again, we are delighted to put our shoulder to the wheel in respect to this initiative. And as I say, give whatever little help we can and the very best to look at it.
Thank you so much, Dara. As you highlight the importance of innovation in business, it's totally applicable to ideas and challenges that you and the audience might see in your area. And Innovating Communities allows and encourages for that collaboration, that collaborative space and piece. And again, I implore you to go on the website innovating.ie and/or go into the chat box here with any suggestions or questions you might have, and I can address them near the end of the event. Now I'm going to hand you over to Cathaoirleach Sarah O'Reilly, who will officially launch the Innovating Communities project here in County Cavan. Please keep yourselves muted, and if you can unmute yourself, Sarah, thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for the introduction, Colette. I was very honoured to be asked to launch this programme locally in Cavan today. Innovating Communities is a training programme to strengthen local development and community-led action across Cavan, Donegal, Leitrim, Sligo, Monaghan and Louth. The programme will provide access to training in design thinking and encourage people across the border region to take part in a community of fellow learners. Participants will focus on local challenges and develop sustainable solutions to improve community life. Design thinking is a process that puts people at the heart of solving challenges. It can be applied to any challenge, from helping young people access better job opportunities to developing a tourism strategy for a group of villages. It can even be used to find a local approach to tackling major issues like climate change. Ice Cream Architecture are leading the training team for Innovating Communities. Ice Cream have 10 years of experience in delivering citizen-led community development projects and the creation of design-led training. The team have led a range of strategic projects that enable, encourage and enhance public participation in local challenges. Ice Cream will be supported by 38 local co-trainers who are volunteering their time to support active participants. Connecting rural communities through shared challenges and opportunities will create strength in numbers and build leverage to secure investment and development. It can build networks of thinking by bringing people together from different backgrounds in their local area to understand what they share and what they can improve. By focusing on overcoming issues collaboratively and working through a set process, people can fully understand what solutions will work best for everyone. Design thinking is used by the most successful companies in the world, including Apple, Netflix, and Google. Their use of these processes has ensured their success by continuing evolving to suit the needs of their customers. Communities can take these processes and make them their own to improve the lives of everyone within the community. Design thinking is for everyone. It lays out a clear path for people to follow and encourages a positive mindset so people can learn about each other and their needs. The 5 main stages have been tried and tested to ensure active participation and a simple route to solving problems. After accepting a local challenge that they want to tackle, participants will learn how to 1. Empathise with the people affected, 2. Define the challenge they face, 3. The training teams will support them to develop ideas, and 4. Support them to test these ideas, and 5. Prototype solutions. Innovating communities will identify challenges local people want to overcome and create networks of people, projects and plans to make change happen. The aim is to involve a minimum of 900 people across the region that will result in joined-up thinking and methods to stimulate increased innovation both locally and across the entire region. It now gives me great pleasure to announce the Innovating Communities initiative is now launched. I would like to wish all stakeholders and participants every success with this initiative. Empowering local communities to resolve challenges within their communities is essential. Thank you to everyone involved in making today's launch a reality.
Thank you so much, Cahirla, Sarah O'Reilly. And now we'll move on to our Q&A. You're all very shy though in the audience here. So I've got one that was emailed through to me that addresses the challenge idea bank. When a problem is identified, what are the next steps and how are they selected? So I'll put that to you, Des, if you wish to unmute yourself and if everyone remains muted, please. Thank you.
Yeah, so there's lots of challenges already going up on the site, but there's lots more room as well for new challenges. So once we have a set of challenges up there, we will start to actively see the challenges that have got quite a few different people behind them. So I'd encourage, as you're putting a challenge up, that you might come together as groups or individuals in your area or across the region as well, across the county, to put forward the challenges. We'll also start to kind of needle and thread challenges together based on what people have said. So if there are individuals or groups who've put forward challenges that relate to each other, we'll start to connect those challenges together and see if there's a pairing between the individuals and groups who have put forward these challenges and that could work together as a cohort. The other thing is that once we have cohorts starting, we will publicise that on the site. So if there's a new challenged cohort starting around climate change or town centres, we'd put that up on the site and allow people to register their interest in that challenge. So immediately, if we'll start to see who's up there with the challenges, who's on the site. But if you see challenges and it takes your fancy and you're really interested in getting involved, register your interest in those cohorts once they go up on the site as well. So just to reiterate, if you've got a challenge in mind and either yourself or you want to bring a group of people together and that you know would want to focus on that challenge, please put the challenge on the site. And then as we get in kind of in the next month or two, as the challenges increase and we start to form the cohorts, please start to register your interest in a cohort of training that you'd want to get involved in, so that we know you're there and that you're keen to get involved, and then we can do the rest so that you can join the cohort.
Brilliant, thank you, Des. And then we just have another question here. How long is a training session? So I'll get that to you.
Thanks, Colette. So there are two different types of training sessions or kind of courses. There's the design sprint, which is the short, kind of more focused challenges, and that would have about 6 or 7 sessions in it. So that would be kind of, maybe we could do 1 session a week, so it would be 6 or 7 weeks in a row. But we will work with participants as well to understand when are the best times for those challenge sessions to happen. So that's the design sprints, and the full scale challenge are those broader, more kind of wicked problems, and that will be 10 sessions with the team. So again, we would try and schedule those to suit all the participants within that cohort. So it's the design sprint are about 6 or 7 sessions, and the full scale are 10 sessions.
Brilliant. We just have one last one before we head in for our wee breakout sessions where we can chat a bit more. How are the resource timings allocated? So do we have a schedule to meet up among teams, or one can volunteer whenever they are available? So I'm assuming, what is the time commitment as an individual to these programs and trainings?
Yeah, so we really want anyone who's signing up for the participants to be able to fully engage in the challenge. So if it was the design sprint challenge, that would be to be able to come along for 6 or 7 sessions, and they could be kind of between an hour or 2 or 3 hour long sessions, and that would be, once we have the cohort together, we would work out exactly the timings for those sessions and how long they can be, and it would I guess we'd hope that as well that challengers and participants within each cohort can work together beyond the training sessions, so that they are starting to move some of the solutions into action. And this project is obviously run across the 6 counties with the partner organisations, so there is some leader support there as well, to make sure that the challenges are kind of being translated into projects on the other side of it. So there's quite a lot of support that will come with each of these, but yeah, there's a bit of a commitment in terms of time. So the design sprints, again, that would be 6 or 7 sessions, and the full scale course would be about 10 sessions.
Okay, brilliant. Thank you. So guys, you can ask more questions even afterwards. Please keep inputting them if you like, or contact us afterwards after the event itself. But we're going to head into the breakout rooms. Des, you'll get a prompt from Des that will ask you to enter another room. So just take that and we'll see you there. Okay, thank you so much, everyone. And we'll see you afterwards.
Sure. Thanks, Colette. Just to add to that as well, before going into the breakout rooms, which will happen in just a second, the question that we're hoping that you can have a think about, and which will be lightly facilitated as well in the rooms, but we're encouraging you to speak up and to tell us the challenges from across Cavan that you would like to tackle, and the ones that you would like to get involved in. So this could be something focused in Cavan, or it could be something that you'd like to get involved in across the region as well. So just now, you'll start to be moved into different breakout rooms. Bear with it, it might just take a few minutes until you get into the room, but please do speak up and tell us the challenges that you would like to tackle through the Innovating Communities project. I think, Colette, that should be everyone back in the room, but definitely I had a listen through the different rooms, and there were lots of ideas. There was discussion around the projects that are already happening and planning for projects to come as soon as those restrictions start to lift. But I just, on the end of the breakout session, I'd just like to reiterate again that please go on the website, have a read of the challenges that are already up there in Cavan, and have a look as well across the region, because there's lots of opportunity to connect with different community groups, businesses, all that, across the other counties as well. But yeah, I'll hand you back to Colette just now, just to say we're all back in the one room again.
Thank you. I just see that I have a discussion. Oh, someone has a challenge to add. So thanks so much for your contribution. But as I said, and Des, and we'll keep saying it, please do go on the website, innovating.ie, and register yourself and or your group and log your challenges. All the challenges that you have raised today, please just keep them with you right now and go on to the website. And I would like to thank you so much for your time this afternoon, and for your patience and your listening, and for contributions. And on behalf of Cavan County Local Development, we hope to see you at some stage during the duration of the project itself. Now, have a lovely afternoon, and we'll see you again. Thank you.
Thank you very much, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Thanks, guys. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.